Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, joined with hubby.
Okay.
And today we are going to be focusing on negative burning and me turning off my notifications. So we don't keep pinging.
Let me do that too.
Alrighty. So today I was looking at my burning and I felt like in regards to the fur next to the ear, I need to do some negative burning to pop it off the tree because it's still not sitting right. I need to do some negative burning here to get rid of this halo because again, it just isn't sitting right to me. And of course, the tree still needs to go darker. For the members live, we focused on that last week, but we're going to do it again today. And I'm also going to show you two different ways that I kind of, if I really want a piece of fur to be light, but I don't want to use the white charcoal, and I want to be able to burn but still keep it light, I'm going to show you two different ways for that. But right now, because this is going to kill my arm and I'll have to stand up, so I'm going to do what I always say is flip your board instead of stand on your head. So here we go. Ugh, this thing is so big. And then I'm going to bring the camera down to make it easier to see. Plus the light hits it differently, so I am able to see how much darker this piece actually needs to go. So you can see there's more burning that's showing up now, and that's because of how the light is hitting the wood and then bouncing into the camera. So if you keep burning and you keep burning and it still feels light, flip your board and see if it changes what it looks like. Also, take pictures with it both upright and flipped, and you'll really be able to see the difference between the two. But first, what we always got to make sure is our tips are clean, because if our tips aren't clean and they have carbon on them, we'll have to up our heat. And when we up our heat, we start using heat setting that's higher than what we actually need to do. And what that causes is an overburn. If you're too hot, an overburn. It also means your pen gets too hot. You don't need to have your pen that hot to burn most of this. I've been under 5 for this whole thing. This is basswood, so of course basswood burns differently. And just a quick reminder, there's sandpaper on the back of this strop, which is why I'm trying not to touch my board. When I want to clean a tip, let's see, what tip is that? Alright. A little bit of aluminum oxide. In fact, this is too much, and I haven't had to reload in a long time. Wipe my pen in the area of the white, and then wipe it off on a clean area. Rub my finger. Make sure your pen's off. Fingernail to see if I feel any resistance. If I feel no resistance, it's clean. If I feel resistance, it has carbon.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring Roxy in because, let's see, all my tips are clean, so it's not like I can really show you. And it really is more of a feeling. But if you just do that quick test with your nail, you'll know instantly if your tip needs to be cleaned. Wiping it off, whether it's be at the end of a session with your pen turned off or right before you start back up again, will help with that. I pulled this tip off because I'm going to pull out, and to clean a skew, don't wipe it directly down, straight up and down, because you'll start blunting the edge, and some tips are really sharp and you want to keep them sharp, and this also helps to keep them sharp. Put them on an edge so that you're just wiping the sides, but it will knock the carbon off if there is any.
Pearls here.
Hey, bro. We'll do the highs here in a minute. Wipe it off. Make sure it's clean. Wipe it off in another clean area. Check. No carbon. We're good to go. So, like right here, I know I have some area of light for M. Actually, we'll focus right here for a second.
Carmen wants to know what about the top of your pen?
I wouldn't worry about the top of your pen. It's going to discolor just because it's metal that's having heat applied. There's no reason to clean the top of your tip. Let's see. See, this is kind of dull, discolored. We don't use this part, so there's no reason to clean this part. And even if you see this dark, like on this tip, that's oxidation. Oxidation is good. Carbon is what causes you issue. So if you see this, don't try to get it off, because when you do that, it's actually a protective coating. Again, regardless of what pen type you're using, what tip type you're using, when you get discoloration like this, you want to keep it. If you keep rubbing, yeah, you'll make it all nice and shiny, but then you will have taken off that oxidation level layer that actually, it's harder than carbon. Carbon doesn't stick to it as hard, which actually this oxidation makes it easier to clean your tips. So don't go polishing it so that it looks brand new. You don't need it to look brand new. You just need to have it with no carbon on it. So thank you for that question, because that was very good. Let's see. I'm looking for a discolored one. We see this one's not as shiny. We see a better shine on this rub. Let's see here. Oh, is there carbon on here? You can also kind of bounce the light off of it to see. No, there's no carbon on that one. I tend to keep my tips pretty clean, so it could be hard for me to find a tip. Let's see here. I'm trying to feel. Oh, that one feels good too. This one's the smaller, extra small 18S that burns hotter, so that one's more likely to have carbon on it for me. But I don't have one right now. So we'll come back here. So this is pretty thick. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna zoom in versus move the camera. There we go. Lay down, Roxy. Let's pull this down. Nope. We need that to go up. Come on. Don't make it hard. There we go. So I kept some thicker white lines here. I need a negative burn around it to better shape it, but I want to keep some white or light because the light is hitting across the top of the bear, so I need some highlights, more so on this side, less so on this side. So there's two ways I can do this without using the white charcoal. The first way being with an X-Acto knife. Doesn't need to be the brand of X-Acto, just this type of knife because it's easier to hold. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do the whole fur. I'm just going to do the tips because that's where I need it. And I'm just going to apply some pressure. And what this will do is it's pushing down the grain. It's not so much cutting it as it's pushing it. And I can just do it on the tip. If I don't have one of those, I can also take a very, very thin skew with the heat off, and you're not applying too much pressure because you don't want to break your tip. Lower myself down. And I can do the same and just push in, and in fact this will be closer to the shape of the stroke for the fur. And I can just kind of go over it where I need it. Making sure to do, because it's fur, I'm crossing over. You can also do this for grass. Anywhere you have thin highlights. And what we're doing is we're actually pushing the wood in. So when our pen runs over it, it doesn't heat that area. So it keeps it light. But we can feel it with our fingers. I can also do it. Roxy, lay down. With my 18 small, the edge, because this is a razor thin edge, and I can do it the same way. And in fact, with this one, it can be a little easier to roll between your fingers to get a better curve. Let's see here, yeah. So I'm going to do some here. Go down into the fur for it to integrate. Look like I did it on purpose, because I am. It may be hard to see because it's such a thin line. Again, run your finger. And then I can take my 18 small. I'm going to turn it on. All of this was done with my pen tip off. I'm going to heat it up 2.5, and while I'm doing that, because it's actually already done, let's quickly say hi to Carmen and Spence and Greg.
Burl.
We got Burl, and as more come in, we'll keep saying hi. Alright. If it's blurry to you, hit the gear either on the bottom of the YouTube screen or the top. And when you hit the gear, it'll say quality, and it should say 1080p, 1080, P60 HD, and that should clear up your screen. Alright, so I've heated up, and I'm going to focus right where I did the scratch out just so we can see. The tip of my pen's going to be hotter. But this will allow me to darken up the fur. See, if I go flat, the knife is really thin. In fact, both are really thin. But we can see some of that fur is staying white. And what this does is it stops a halo from happening, which I have over here. I had a bit here, but now I can negative burn around, and I'm still pretty light, but I can darken up the tree around the fur so that it looks realistic the way I want it. It allows me to get the thin strokes. And if it still burns, not a big deal. In the area I don't want it to burn in, I can turn around and go back with, we're going to go back with the knife. And I can do a little bit of scratching just on the tip. Make sure that I keep things thin, and I can scratch out some of that burning. For this area, I don't need a bright highlight. With a bright, if I needed a bright highlight, then I would use the white charcoal to fill it in. So maybe now, because I took more off, you can see it a little bit better. But I also need to darken, do some negative burning around the top of the head to better shape it. And I can do the same thing on this fur here and just go back and forth so that I get a more realistic look in the burn versus a halo. Because remember, not all of this fur is going to be getting hit by the light. It's more in shadow down here. Is the light up here that we're seeing. Like, these are thick. I can use the edge of my pen to get into the small areas. Or I can do the same thing and scratch out like I did before. Or do the pre-scratch and use my knife to get into really small areas to push in the wood so that it doesn't, let's move that here, burn it. So like over here, I use the edge of the extra small. Right now I'm flat, because if I go on the edge and then I go into where I scratched out, it's gonna burn because I've got a small area into a small area. If I go flat, I'm using a larger area to do what I wanted. So I'm gonna fill this in, and then I'm actually gonna come back and scratch out on this one. And I'm trying to get rid of that halo. Trying to incorporate the background. This is a form of negative burning because I'm burning around it to create the shape. And that's what negative burning is. Excuse me. So now I can take the sharp edge, I'm using the point, and because I burn darker, I can get a thinner scratch. You do have to watch the grain because the grain will try to control where the knife goes. And go down into some of the burning. Make sure I'm crossing in different directions because that's how fur works. Same with hair. You can do the exact same thing with hair. Hair, grass. What else? I can feel it. Anything where you just need a little bit of a highlight. That would be Morgan. They are mad that they are not included.
Well, I don't know. She might be. I'll get her. She might be barking outside.
See, I go over it. And we still have our lights, and I'll zoom in more so you can see that. Trying not to get too blurry. I can drag down flat so we can thin out these negative, to actually negative burn into the fur, and filling in the background. If it gets too dark, I can turn around and scratch again. And actually in doing that will give us, you know, more randomness, and that's what we want. Just going flat. I can go up on my side with this tip. Pull out some darker to thin it out as well if I don't want to scratch. But use the tools you have, and they work in multiple different ways, so you don't have to keep buying things. I want people to be successful with as many things as they already have versus feeling they have to keep buying more and more things. I mean, does it help the channel if you hit an affiliate link? Absolutely. Is it necessary? No. I know things can be tough, and I don't want people... I want people to burn, not just buy things. So right here we got some overlap. I'm going to try to tint it as much as I can. And the more it's tinted, the more the scratching will stand out. I do also have rotary tools, but those are too thick, in my opinion, for what I want, which is why I'm not using any, even though I have the tiniest tips. It just doesn't work as well as I would like. And I don't want it to look like I was carving things out. I'm just lifting a little bit of highlight. I can go a little thicker. And just scratch out in a couple of areas. But now we don't have the halo like we have over here because we've gone into the fur, but we've kept our highlights. Now these highlights here are going to darken a bit more than what it would with the white charcoal because the wood will darken. So if you just want a brighter highlight, then you need to take that into consideration. So like with here where it's overlapping, I just want the tip. I'm going to have to go back and negative burn into here to like shape the head that I can scratch out just where the light would be hitting. I don't want to go too crazy. Just and like right there, that's a little too thick, so I'm going to go back on my sharp edge. And it tends to be easier if you can pull your stroke versus trying to, scrape it like that. There, I pulled quite a bit. Oh, off camera. Let me unzoom. There we go. Hopefully that's easier to see. And if I went a little too thick, I can thin it out. And also with fur or hair, you don't in general want it like thick on the end. You want it really thin if possible. And then negative burn around, especially at the base, to pop it out more. Let's see. I'm going to go flat. Some of it's a little brighter than I want, so I'm going to go flat. Try to better incorporate it. Touching down in the dark and then dragging out. We're losing the halo, which is what I want. Go into the fur so that everything works together. Now I do want this fur a little darker than I want my background. But by being able to scratch and then burn in flat, I still keep some of these highlights, which I want. That's pretty bright. I can dull them down a little bit. If I press too hard, then I'm not going to be able to dull down. So we're going to come up here. These are a little thicker. I'll move this way. And see, again, we've got a halo. I can go into my light area. And what this does is it reshapes and makes the shape work better of the whole side of the head. And here, if the tree is pretty thick, we're not going to have a bright halo here. If it's thick enough to cast to block the sun. Up here, it's coming in between trees. So even if we go darker here and don't put a highlight, we can still get it to read lighter without the halo. Again, I don't want the halo in this particular case. If you're doing something that's actually like glowing, like it's glowing along the edge, you can keep that halo because it makes more sense. But right here, it doesn't make as much sense because the trees are blocking. Now I'm up on my edge and I'm just creating some more fur coming out. I think almost all of this fur was created with this pen. Excuse me. Go in and put some darks more at the base, because when we put darks down here, we're negative burning this line of fur. It doesn't have to be all over the place, but we do need some more darks to help shape the head and pop it out a little bit more, so I need to pull it out.
Sorry,
It's alright. I've been trying to stay on screen. We're going to pull some darker fur out.
Oh, okay. I was not here, girl, so I didn't know that she was off screen.
He had to take care of the dog, so he didn't realize. Alright.
Not physically able.
I'm going to darken again. I'm flat, top half of my tip, and I'm just tinting. Let's see here.
So have you read any of these comments? Because Greg says, I find with fine details I have to make them dark so they don't disappear when sealing.
Yeah.
And
I didn't read
fine
that.
details, he says. And then Burl says, I know you have a skew. Why not use that?
I did. Did it not come up on... What, to actually burn the fur or to create the fur pattern like I was doing with the knife to scratch out? I try to use the least amount of pins as possible because I'm comfortable with all my pins. The 18 small is my favorite for general burning. It just allows me to, make small tweaks on how I move my hand or how I hold the pen to create so much more. So it's just a habit. We all find pens that are our favorite that we can do similar things with. And I'm showing because it allows people to save money. Things are getting crazy. And like I wanted you to get back to burning of what you did fabulous with your owl. I'm so proud of you. I want others to keep burning. I don't want price to be I don't want somebody to feel they have to buy all this stuff. Because then you start, especially if you can't afford it, then you're less likely to do it. And I want people to do it. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out this part of the head because it's a little too straight for my liking. So I'm just pulling out some fur. And of course now she wants in. She can stay out there.
Alright.
Nope.
They're
She's in a mood.
All of them are. So Morgan was barking at the game.
I think, yeah, that's what I thought.
Riva wants in. They all want in.
But then Riva will start riding her sisters like they're ponies around the room, and my studio is not very big, and it gets loud and obnoxious. And
Yeah, because they start playing, and then they're like kids.
yelling at each other.
Loud.
And so she's just gonna have to. She's gonna have to suck it up. When she was in here, she wanted out. Now that he's out, he wants in. Alright. So I'm just trying to pull out. But I still see some negative burn that I need to get done. I don't want the halo in this case. The halo here works because that's where we're getting direct sun. But halo here all the way around just does not work for me. So I got a pretty sharp line here that I don't like. I'm gonna put some darks further up so I can scratch out. There we go. And this line, this pen is so thin, it just makes it easier to me just stick with. Did Burl answer about the, did she say anything about me not, she asked about the skew, did she?
She hasn't answered that question.
Oh, okay.
She said, her next comment was, worked on the bear some more. And Spence says, the bear.
The bear.
And Burl says, yep, that bear.
She's working on 2 ears. Burl hasn't burned for like 2 years.
She just commented. She says that she finds that most new people, that new people seem to be buying the Chinese burners with the 25 plus changeable tips.
I know.
Well,
but in fairness, if they're buying that over the craft burner, so they're getting used to a wire tip, at some point they are going to have to upgrade because those Chinese models are not going to last. Give it a couple of years and they're gonna be looking. On top of that, those and I have several of them, and they're all the same tips. They are not oxidized, they are not made well, they are easy to break, and you know they're easy to break because they give you so many when you buy them. It's not because they're being generous in the tools, it's because they break so easily that they don't want you contacting them screaming your tip broke.
And then also a lot
and it makes you feel like you got a good deal.
Right.
That's the big one, I think.
And I think that the marketing on them is, as with many things, is misleading because they'll say 25, plus tips, changeable tips. And so your impression is that you're getting 25 different kinds of tips.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're getting multiple duplicates.
You're getting like double. You're getting 2 sets of 12 or 13. You're not getting 25 different tips. They're the same tips. And they're tip designs that were stolen. They throw them however they make them. I don't want to speculate on how they make them. But I would say if you're spending $60 on a wire tip Chinese model and you've never burned it before in your life and you don't know if you want to continue doing it and you don't know if you like it, that it really is no different than buying a craft burner. I mean, yeah, we're looking at a 30 difference in price, but if you're going to stick with burning, we'll say it that way. If you're going to stick with burning, and you know you're going to stick with burning, I highly recommend upgrading your burner. And you will feel a difference. You will feel how it drags differently across the wood. You will feel how differently it is to clean the tips. You'll feel a smoother burn. That's why I've got several Chinese models where my thing is, if I don't like a burner, I am not going to make a review video because I'm not going to give it more airtime. And I make sure that is quite that the company knows that if I don't like the burner, it's not getting a video, because I'm not going to highlight that burner and then have people buy it if I know. And they do try to pull the whole, you get, an affiliate link, you get 10% of the sale. I don't give two shits about the sale if it's not a good burner. Did I cuss? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I am more interested in correct information to the public, because it's your money you're spending. I'm not interested in making money off of you if it is a crappy product. If I wouldn't sit there and continue to use it, I'm not going to push it on you. That ticks me off, and it's just not honest. So yes, I have a lot of burners. I also don't have videos of those burners because they are crappy burners that I don't think you should waste your money on. If you know you like burning and you want to make that investment and you want to learn and grow and what have you, then I highly, not sponsored, I don't get paid for this, I don't get paid for any burner, recommend the Optima. Plain and simple. Every day, still, to this day, I've been burning with this same burner since 17. I got it in 2017. When I went exclusive this burner in early 2018. Every day, still, I still try to find something wrong with it, just so it doesn't sound like I'm just pushing a product. Again, no affiliate link. I don't get paid for it. I'm still trying to close off the halo, and if I look at the screen that you guys are looking on, I think I need to bring some darks down. But we're not as bright as we were. So I'm going to bring down some of this leaf and integrate it into the fur. If I lose a highlight, we can go back and scratch it out. I still have no issues with my Optima. And I try, because I don't want to sound biased. But if a good product is a good product, it needs to be praised, especially with all the crap on the market. And it's a lot. I'm going to be up front. I actually went looking at purchasing a new burner to review yesterday. I was looking at spending $349, a ridiculous amount of money, to buy a new burner. Not because I need it, but because I wanted to review it bless you, and see if there was any difference in said burner. Especially since it has good marketing, so I wanted to see if it was worth paying $348 for a single burner that, one, does not come with any pins at all, and I don't even know if it came with a cord. It was just the burner base, nothing with it. $349. And I hemmed and I hawed and I hemmed and hawed some more. And then I finally, because I know it's getting promoted to people who are looking to upgrade, so I was like, should I do it? Spend that kind of money and based on what I was reading on their own website, not have any kind of difference. What I did was pull my darker or closer to my highlight line on this back blurry tree. And I just kind of sharpened it up a little bit. But I really do need to darken this. And I just couldn't bring myself to buy it. Now, I have asked this company to send it to me for review, and they...
Girl wants to know which one.
You know exactly
who. Is it
who
a digital one?
Yes, the Canadian one.
Okay.
Both, yes. I have contacted this company multiple times, both in writing and a phone call, to inquire about them sending me one so I could review it, and they don't even tell me, no thank you, we're good, which I would be totally fine with. That wouldn't bother me at all. They just do not respond to me at all. At all. They don't respond. They're like, we don't know you. If they just told me, nope, we're not interested, I'd be like, cool, thank you for getting back to me. Have a great day. But they won't even tell me no. They just ghost me. And so I'm like, cool, you know, it is what it is. But if you're not going to talk to me, that just shows me what your customer service is like. And considering the only thing I could see that they're saying is different, I don't like this straight line right here. So we're going to pull it up. I am going to pull it up. I don't like it. Me no likey. If they can't just be honest and respond, however they choose to respond, I don't care about that. I mean, I care about them responding to me. I don't care if they tell me no. I'm totally fine with that. It's a business that they have to decide what they want to do with it. But when I go and look onto the description of said digital $349 base only burner, and the only real caveat is the memory, and you can plug it in anywhere, and the electron, you know, it'll be fine. That's just not worth, for me, paying $349 for, because I have zero issues with my Optima burners fluctuating in heat. I have zero issue. And as for memory, sure, that's great. Except for I've been burning so long, I can look in an area and pretty much guess what heat setting I need. So I've already got memory. It's mine. Sometimes analog is better than digital. You have to decide, do you want to spend that kind of money? I almost did it. I really did. My finger was hovering and I'm like, should I do this? What if I hate it? Can I return it and get my money? You know what? The pins are the same. The pins are their biggest issue. So if that hasn't changed, why do it? So I did not do it. Now this looks a little too much. So what I'm going to, still looks too straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push you guys in and we're going to reshape this fur right here. Hopefully I can keep it non-blurry. Burl says, are there any YouTube pyographers that uses that one? Yeah, but I'm not going to broadcast her. I'm not going to broadcast what her channel is. I believe she has one. And they have two different versions. Burl says, well, you would have to remember specific temperatures instead of single number to get the same tonal burn. Yeah, once you go past the 8 the 8 on the digital, the 8 memory, you still have to remember what number. I think it's more important to get used to your burner. So see, I just negative burned out that piece of fur. It's better to spend time and get to know your burner and your pens and the wood you like to work with the understanding that all wood's different. Even if you're just using basswood, each piece is different. We're going to pull out negative burn around this area of fur to shape it a little bit more so we get some different value. I'm just barely touching, and I'm on my edge. I'm still at 3.5 from where I was darkening this, but see, I'm trying to separate. Like, this is too thick of a highlight for what I want. Changing some of my direction, thinning it out. And none of their tips are as thin as the Optima tips on the edges. I still have that brand's.
Spence says, I wouldn't if they didn't even respond.
Yeah, and I called and actually was talking to them about something else, and I was getting information. And then when I specifically asked about reviewing, and this was a couple of years ago, when I specifically asked about reviewing that model, getting it sent to me, again, no company owes me anything. I don't want that misconstrued in any way. When she transferred me over to the person, I left a message and never got a call back. And I was like, okay, point taken. And I have not dealt with them in any way since. And I do have one of their new pens. I got that to test out. I had a gift card, so I used the gift card. The company I won the gift card for didn't have anything else I wanted, so I was like, oh, I can test out the pen. And it's no different. It's actually quite a bummer. You spend all that money on research and development of a new burner. Cool. Because everybody gets in their head that digital's better. Sometimes it's not. Although I have been, that is a discussion that Pat and I have had back and forth in regards to Optima. But you notice there's one still on, there's not one on the market. But just by not talking to me, really soured me.
Burl says maple, she loves maple. But she also is asking, can you use their pens on the Optima?
Yeah. Yep. You can. If you've already made that commitment, you absolutely can. And then you'll find out real quick who has the better pens. And why. Because I can tell you all day long. But honestly, until you do it with your burn style, ooh, got a little crazy with that. Let's darken all of this up now. I'm gonna have to negative burn all that. That is grain. That is grain. Got a little crazy. Darken this up. Again, this is a blurry background, so it's okay if it's kind of not even. But this grain right here is fighting me. That right there. I'm trying to darken it just enough so it fades out. It's kind of camouflaged. Then we'll pull it back. Because you guys are super focused in this one area, just like I am. So you're going to see all all the strokes, but when I pull back, you'll see it more as a whole. And that's how we want people to look at our burnings. You guys just get to see a closer version. And I'm just going to do the tips. And what I'm trying to do is pull some lighter. And the reason I'm not using the Optima skew is it is truly so tight. I'm going to bump down to 2.5. It's such a razor tip thin that sometimes...
You said razor tip.
Well, because it is. It's razor thin tip. There we go. That sometimes it can catch on the grain. It's really good for straight lines, but when I want a curved line, this pen, the 18 small, does the best curved lines in my opinion on how I burn. So I'm trying to reshape this. And we can see more individual fur pattern. I'll have to do the same right here, but I'm trying to get that realistic fur. And is this taking longer than you probably want to spend on just cleaning up this edge? It is, but when I'm done, it will make all the difference. You will see a difference versus if I kept it like this. That's why I feel it's worth doing. So let's back out. Let's see here. Do I need to zoom? We can see it's darker. We're not looking for each individual hair stroke. That's not what we want to see. What we're looking for... Go. I still have a halo there. I still need to bring this dark here. And we'll darken some more of the tree. And I'm staying focused right here because I really want for us to see the difference. So I'm going to stay out here camera-wise. I can use my hot air there too. I don't think it's empty. There we go. Excuse me. Is it on? There we go. You'll know it's on when this goes red. I've turned down my heat. Always pay attention to where your nozzle is. That's hot.
Did you?
I was just checking the air. I did not burn myself. I'm darkening right there. I'm going to go all the way low, so it's a little easier to control. And what I'm trying to do is get rid of that halo. We can go back in and scratch out if we need to. This hot air though, I really like it so much better than a flame. I'm actually going to scratch out another layer. So I do need burning there in order to scratch out because it's already done. All the background needs to go darker. Do the same with the tree. And see, I would do the fur at the very end, the same of the ears, the same way. Make sure I'm still on. What I'm trying to do is pop this bear out. That's my biggest goal right now. Is to pop the bear head out. And with the flame and or hot air, it raises the grain, so you do need to be paying attention to that, because your burn may not be as smooth because of it with your tip. And that's why. It's just the heat from the hot air or the flame raises the grain. So just be aware of it. I think we're going to push some of this back further. And when I say push it back further, I'm just talking about adding a bit more shading so that only this line is the brightest. Remember, it's a curved object and we want it to look curved, so we need to have a bit more shading. And where the bark is missing up there, I saved the edge that fell off, and I'm just going to glue it on when I'm done. The halo, we need to have that negative burning. And I'm trying to darken just this line because this is already dark enough. So I'm trying to go up into the fur. Go. And once the wood heats up, it burns faster with the hot air, so you have to pay attention to that. When you first start and you just sat down and you started burning and the wood is cool, it might take, 10-15 seconds to warm up. But because I was burning in this area with my pen, the wood was already heated. You see, we still see the light sticking out because I indented the wood. And just know, if you have that company's burner and you like it, this is no hate to it. If you are being successful in what you're using tool-wise, keep doing it. It can be hard to switch burners, which is why out the gate I tell you Optima, because it can get hard. You've developed patterns and technique with the burner that you're using, so it can be hard to switch burners. Especially if you've been burning with it for a while. Well, that, and I want you to save money. The Optima, even if you get fancy, is still much cheaper. I mean, the only thing I want Pat to do is give me a dual that has 2 knobs, just like the nibs burner. That's the only thing I want. And technically, I don't even need it. Alright, off with that. My burner has been on the whole time, so I gotta be careful picking that up. So, we've added some heat. Remember, it's gonna be hot when we touch. So, touching an area, it's cooled off. I'm going to pull some more fur further away to help better shape. Oh, my eye is bounced. I hate when they do that. And again, I can use my cool skew. And also,
Carmen says she remembers your story on all your burners.
yep. I know some people think that I am very picky, which, yes, I'm not gonna deny that. But when I burn, and this is not a commentary on anybody else. When I burn, I'm very connected to the piece of wood. I can feel every minute issue between the pin and the wood as it's burning. And I'm sure a lot of people can. But I've become so attuned that I can really feel differences that maybe some people don't pick up. I've actually flipped, and I'm using the top part of this tip because it's a hair thicker, which also means it is stronger. I wouldn't recommend doing this with keeper burner tips. You're more likely to break them. Don't do it with it on, because once you turn this on, and I pulled back because it was a habit. It's not even plugged in, but in my head, kind of like other tools, if it's in my hand, my thinking is it's live, it's active. I just hit the train tunnel.
Uh-oh.
I know, isn't that fun? What was I talking about? Cute.
How much longer are you going? It's afternoon.
Okay, but I gotta figure out what I was gonna say. Help me, what was I saying?
I don't know. It scrambled too.
You weren't listening.
I was, but
It's okay. I was talking about...
perhaps chat can help us.
Yeah. Where the hell did I go with that? I have totally derailed. Don't you hate when that happens?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And I felt like I had a good point to make. I'm waiting to see what chat says.
Don't do this with cheap tips, girls.
Oh, yeah. But there was some place I was trying to go with it. Where was I going with it? Alright, let's negative burn. Some of these are like same length, and I don't want that either. I'm on 2.5, and I'm just trying to push these back a little bit, which allows me to get them more rounded, and that's why I was breaking up these. This is something I would do closer to the end, but I wanted to show you guys why it makes a difference. Next week is the members live. Members only live. You can become a member by clicking join next to the subscribe on YouTube, or through the Ko-fi link, K-O-F-I link down in the description, which also gets you patterns, the secret Facebook group, the members only lives with no ads. Get no ads. I don't put any ads on the member lives because they are already helping out. And that's as low as $5 a month if you're interested. Also, I do critiques with them. They can contact me and say, hey, what's wrong with this? And we, go back and forth. Isn't that right, Burl? Between the owl and 2 ears. We've gone back and forth quite a bit. So what I've done here, I will be doing up here as well. And along the other edge. I think we're okay with the ear fur right here.
So
but go ahead.
Beryl said with what you're talking about, she says don't do this with cheap tips, you'll break the tip.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Carmen says, according to Pat, my razor tip machine was fine. The major issue was the way that her pins were done.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. There was no use in buying a new base when the tips are the same. There's just no reason. It's not going to change the situation with their issues. Their pens need a whole new redesign. And I'm not going to tell them how they need to redesign them. Not going to do it. Oh, I forgot that Carmen did switch over to, or he got an Optima last year. I forgot about that.
Earl says LOLEOR and then oops, the horizon is off.
On mine or yours?
What is she talking about?
The horizon of her 2 ears.
Oh.
He was ready to call it done, and I told her horizon, for the next burning to pay attention to the horizon. But now she got it in her head to fix it, and that's her choice. Alright, let's pull this up here so we can see it back. There we go. Where we're looking is right here and right here. I feel I need a little bit darker fur in here. Yeah. Yeah, Burl might be a little peeved with me.
Why?
Because she thought she was done, and then I saw something else.
Well, it's not.
That's why he asks me. Everybody asks me for help in a different way, and I try to tailor it to that person. Like with Carmen and Burl, I know they want the truth, nothing but the truth, and go from there. Whereas somebody else may just want a more general, So I tailor my help to the person who's asking.
Yeah.
And that's for the paid members. Oh, I do have community on YouTube turned on. So if you're not a member and not in the Facebook group, you can still post on YouTube now. They fixed that, or they brought that back. I do have community turned on. So you can post your own photos if you want to show me something specific. We'll try to take a minute to look at it. I need to pull right here. I think that's what's throwing me off, is this area right here. Needs to come up a little bit. But hopefully you see the edge is less blurry. We're not seeing quite the halo like what we see right here. This right here is how this was before. So hopefully you can see that a little clearer. I'll just zoom it in a little bit, see if that helps.
How much longer are you going?
I'm finishing off.
I'm gonna wipe them down.
Yeah, I need to pull a little bit more right there.
Bye, everybody.
And I need to fix that angle right about here. This is good, right about here. Hopefully you can see the difference. There needs to be more darks pulled up into there. With just a separate, I need to negative burn this end, but then also this, so that it feels more correct. And this is just me taking a moment not to attack my burning, but just to look at it with a critical eye and what I need to change, because I did go pretty dark there, so I need to pull out. I need to have some highlights, but maybe some darker fur coming out behind the highlights to fluff it out more. Yep, I think that's what I need. Alrighty. And then what I did here, I will also do here. In fact, I need to go darker in here. And that will help to continue shaping the bear, because with that, I feel this needs to come out just a little bit. Yeah. Because when you look at my reference, I didn't cut in between each piece of fur, so that's why there's a halo in the reference. But if you zoom in on the reference, you can see the difference. Let's see if I can pull the... You can see where I scratched or used my edge. That's a little more into the wood. And then you can also feel it. Right there. I can see it and feel it versus where it's not doing that right now. This I may actually leave because it's got a brighter light hitting it. And I actually like this glow right here, so I may actually leave that. I'm just working to get the shape better right here. Alrighty, so we got any questions? Next week is Member Live. And if you're new, watching this live or on replay, don't forget to hit subscribe. We love new toasties. Plus, I'm so close to 9,000, it's driving me nuts. Don't forget to hit like. I always forget to tell you. Don't forget to do it. Please. And trying to get down to it. You know what to say with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys. See the members next week. Bye. I need some ending music. Da 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 da.